You ever have one of those days where you wake up thinking everything's fine, and by sunset, your life is in shambles? Yeah, that was me 3 months ago. One moment, I was a happily married man. Or so I thought. And the next, I was being thrown out of my own damn house because my wife, Amanda, decided to trust her mother's venomous lies over the man she vowed to love and cherish. Let's rewind a bit. I met Amanda 5 years ago. She was sweet, full of life, and for some reason, she fell head over heels for me. Or at least, that's what I believed. We got married, built a life together, and I worked my ass off to provide for us. I thought we were solid. But there was one problem. A 6-foot-tall, blonde-haired, Botox-filled parasite named Margaret, my mother-in-law. She never liked me. Thought I wasn't good enough for her precious little girl. The way she saw it, Amanda should have married a rich man. Someone who could give her a life of luxury, not some hard-working blue-collar guy busting his back to pay the mortgage. And then, just like that, Margaret got what she wanted. I came home from work one evening, exhausted but happy, looking forward to dinner with my wife. Instead, I walked into an ambush. Amanda stood in the middle of the living room, arms crossed, eyes blazing red, gripping her phone like it was a murder weapon. Her mother perched on the couch, smirking like the Cheshire Cat. My stomach sank. You disgust me. Amanda shrieked, throwing her phone at my feet. I picked it up, heart pounding, and my blood turned cold. There they were, photos of me, clear as day, in a hotel parking lot, hugging some woman. Another picture of me sitting at a bar with the same woman. A text conversation, supposedly for me, saying, "Last night was amazing, baby. I can't wait to see you again." All fake. What the hell is this? I demanded, but Amanda was already on a warpath. Don't you dare play dumb with me, Liam. I knew something was off. My mother was right about you all along. She's full of shit. I snapped, glaring at Margaret. You had someone fake this crap, didn't you? Margaret gasped, feigning innocence. Why would I do that, dear? You did this to yourself. I turned back to Amanda. Baby, listen to me, this isn't real. You know I would never. Slap. My head snapped to the side as my wife's palm connected with my cheek. I don't want to hear your lies. I should have known, she sobbed, her hysteria growing by the second. You were always working late, always too tired. I was such an idiot to trust you. I rubbed my cheek, staring at the woman I thought I knew. Amanda! Think for a second. If I was really cheating, why the hell would I be so careless? This is sloppy. Too obvious. Margaret scoffed. Oh, so now you're calling my daughter stupid? She's acting like an idiot if she believes this garbage. I shot back, instantly regretting it. Amanda let out an ear-piercing scream and lunged at me, clawing at my shirt. Get out. Get out of my house. My house. I corrected bitterly, but it didn't matter. Margaret was already handing Amanda a thick envelope. Divorce papers. Pre-prepared, signed, sealed, ready to destroy my life. You need to leave, Liam, Margaret said in that sickeningly sweet voice. Amanda deserves better than a lying, cheating scumbag. I could have fought. Could have called a lawyer right then and there. But in that moment, standing in the wreckage of my marriage, staring at the woman who once swore to love me, I realized something. She was gone. She had been gone the moment her mother whispered those lies into her ear. Within an hour, I was out on the street. Amanda got the house, the car, everything we built together. Me, I got a duffel bag and a boot in the ass. And then she ran straight into the arms of the man her mother approved of. Some rich prick named Robert Sinclair. A guy with a 6-figure income and the personality of a damp sponge. I should have been devastated. And I was. But more than that, I was furious. This wasn't just a betrayal. It was a setup, a takedown. But what Margaret and Amanda didn't realize, they just messed with the wrong guy. Rock bottom isn't some poetic metaphor. It's cold, it's real, and it's a cheap motel room that smells like cigarettes and bad decisions. That's where I found myself after Amanda threw me out like last week's trash. I sat on the edge of the stiff motel bed, staring at the duffel bag containing the last remnants of my old life. A couple of shirts, some underwear, a toothbrush. No home, no car, no wife. Just a bitter taste in my mouth and the echo of Amanda's voice screaming accusations in my head. 3 days passed in a haze. I barely ate. I barely slept. I just existed. And then I got the email. A message from her lawyer. The divorce papers, all formal and cold, attached like an afterthought. Margaret had orchestrated the entire thing flawlessly. Amanda was too blind, too emotionally erratic to even see how she was being played. But I was done being the victim. Margaret wanted me gone. Amanda wanted to believe I was a cheating bastard. Fine, but I wasn't going to disappear quietly. I wasn't going to wallow in pity while they celebrated their little victory. I was going to make them regret it. Step 1, the investigation. I knew Margaret. That snake didn't just luck into faking those photos. She had help. Someone had to take them. Someone had to manipulate the texts. And I had a pretty damn good idea where to start. I called an old friend, Eric, a private investigator. Ironically, the same profession that was used to destroy me. Liam? Eric answered, his voice wary. Didn't think I'd be hearing from you. Need a job done. You sound like a man with nothing to lose. Because I don't. A pause, then a sigh. All right, who are we digging into? I gave him the names. Amanda, Margaret, and most importantly, Margaret's personal connections. I want everything, I said. Every dirty little secret they think they've buried. I needed patience. I needed restraint. 2 things I didn't have in abundance at the time, but revenge? That was worth waiting for. While Eric worked, I kept myself busy. I hit the gym like a man possessed, using every ounce of anger as fuel. I picked up extra work, saved money, rebuilt myself from the ground up. Meanwhile, Amanda and Robert played house. She flaunted her new perfect life on social media. Dinners at expensive restaurants, vacations, diamond bracelets. She looked happy, but something fell off. Then, 3 weeks into Eric's digging, I got the first bite. A text from Eric. Got something. You're gonna love this. What he found was gold. Margaret hadn't acted alone. She had a network, a well-connected friend, some sleazebag lawyer who had helped manufacture the fake evidence against me. And it got worse. Margaret paid a private investigator, the same one she claimed had caught me, to fabricate the entire thing. She'd orchestrated it, planned it like a damn mob boss. And the real kicker? My father-in-law, Mark, knew about it. Hell, he was too much of a spineless coward to stop it. Margaret had ruined my life on purpose, not because she truly thought I was cheating, but because she wanted me gone. And now I had proof. Oh, this was going to be fun. Knowing the truth and proving it were 2 different things. Margaret had built a fortress of lies, and I needed to tear it down brick by brick. Eric, my investigator, had uncovered enough to confirm what I already suspected. Margaret had orchestrated my downfall, but I needed more. I needed something explosive, something that would not just expose her, but humiliate her. Step 3, following the money. Eric sent me a file that made my blood boil. Margaret had paid handsomely to make my life a nightmare. Tens of thousands had been wired to a private investigator, a known fraud who specialized in manufacturing evidence for high-end divorces. And it wasn't just Margaret. Mark, my weak-willed father-in-law, had signed off on some of those payments. That meant one thing. He knew Mark wasn't innocent. He wasn't just some spineless husband trying to survive his wife's wrath. He had actively participated. Maybe out of fear, maybe out of loyalty, but either way, he had chosen a side. And now, he was going to pay for it. Step 4, the weak link. I knew Margaret was untouchable in her own mind. She had the confidence of a queen, believing she had won. But Mark? He was different. I had seen the way he flinched when she snapped at him, how he hesitated before speaking, always looking for approval. He was scared of her, and scared people make mistakes. I set up a meeting with Mark. Made it seem casual, like I just wanted to clear the air, a man-to-man talk. I knew he'd take the bait. We met in a quiet diner off the highway. Mark looked nervous, shifting in his seat, glancing around like he expected Margaret to jump out from behind the counter. So I started, stirring my coffee. Tell me, Mark, when did you decide to betray me? His face went pale. Liam, I tossed the folder onto the table, letting the damning bank statement spill out. His eyes darted to them, his breathing shallow. You signed off on these transactions. That means you knew what Margaret was doing. You helped ruin my life. He swallowed hard, hands shaking as he reached for the papers. I didn't have a choice, son. You don't know what she's like. I leaned in, my voice low and venomous. Oh, I do, Mark. I know exactly what she's like. But here's the thing. You could have stopped her. You could have said something. Instead, you let her destroy my marriage and take everything from me. Tears welled in his eyes. Pathetic. She threatened to leave me if I didn't go along with it, he whispered. She said I was useless, that if I didn't support her decision, she'd take everything. There it was, the crack. I smirked. And she still treats you like garbage, doesn't she? He nodded weakly, then helped me take her down. His head snapped up, fear and desperation flashing across his face. What? I want everything, Mark. Every dirty little secret she's ever tried to hide. You help me, and maybe, just maybe, you walk away from this without losing everything yourself. He hesitated. Then, slowly, he nodded. Good, I said, standing up. Welcome to the winning side. I walked out of the diner, knowing one thing for sure. Margaret's house of cards was about to come crashing down. Nights were the worst. It wasn't the cheap motel room or the deafening silence that got to me. It was her, Amanda. The memories of her, of us, played in my head like a cruel joke. I could still feel her warm body curled up next to mine, hear her laugh when I teased her, smell her damn perfume on my old shirts. And then the image would shift. Now she was in another bed, with another man. That rich, empty-souled bastard. I picture his hands on her, touching her the way I used to. I imagine her moaning his name, whispering things she once whispered to me. My stomach turned. I wanted to claw the image out of my skull, to erase it. I hated her. I missed her. I wanted to forget her. But she was everywhere. That was the worst part. But I had no time for weakness. I had a war to win. Mark had finally cracked, and now it was time to extract everything he knew. I met him at the same diner the next day, and this time he looked even worse, like a man who had seen his own execution date. You said you wanted to know everything, he muttered, stirring his coffee with shaking hands. You don't understand what you're up against, Liam. I leaned back, unimpressed. I've already lost everything. What else can she take from me? He hesitated before sighing heavily. Margaret, she's done this before. I froze. What? He nodded, looking ashamed. You think you were her first victim? No. Amanda's first fiancé. Before you, she did the same thing to him. Set him up, ruined his reputation, destroyed his career. Only difference is, back then, he didn't fight back. He ran, moved states, started over. I clenched my fists. Why? Because he wasn't good enough for Amanda. Just like you. I exhaled sharply, rage boiling in my chest. That manipulative which had made a habit out of destroying men's lives? And Amanda, she had gone along with it twice? She had help, Mark continued. That sleazebag lawyer you found? He's been on her payroll for years. He fabricates the evidence, makes sure the courts swing in her favor. Hell, he even gets kickbacks on the divorces she orchestrates. My jaw tightened. And what about Amanda? How much does she know? Mark swallowed hard. She doesn't question her mother. Never has. Margaret tells her something, and she believes it, no matter how insane it is. So my ex-wife was not just a fool. She was willingly blind. A part of me wanted to storm over to Amanda's new place, grab her by the shoulders, and shake some sense into her. How could you be this stupid? How could you let your mother destroy another man's life? But I knew it was pointless. She wasn't going to wake up until it was too late, and I was going to make sure that when she did, there was nothing left for her to salvage. I had everything I needed now. Margaret's history of sabotage, the corrupt lawyer, the fake evidence, Mark's testimony. The next move was simple. I was going to use it all against her. It was time for Margaret to lose. There was a time when I thought revenge was beneath me, that justice would find its own way. But after everything Margaret had done, after the lies, the manipulation, the destruction, there was no room for mercy. I wasn't just going to expose her. I was going to crush her. Margaret had built her power on deception, on fear, on pulling the right strings. But fear works both ways. Now, she was about to learn what it felt like to have her own world collapse. First, I started with her precious reputation. Mark, despite his pathetic, spineless nature, had given me enough dirt to bury her. I leaked it strategically, emails, bank statements, proof that she'd orchestrated multiple fake divorces, ruining men's lives for sport. A quiet whisper in the right circles. A nudge to the local news outlets. A well-placed anonymous tip to the Bar Association about her pet lawyer's shady dealings. It started small. Margaret suddenly stopped getting invites to her elite social clubs. Then the rumors spread, and her closest friends began to distance themselves. Women she had once manipulated started talking, sharing stories. Her name was turning to poison. But that was just the beginning. The next move was personal. Margaret thrived on control, especially over Amanda. So I decided to rip that control away. It started with small cracks. Amanda and Robert's perfect romance was already crumbling. Turns out, being Margaret's hand-picked golden boy didn't make Robert immune to her toxicity. She was overbearing, meddling, manipulative. Robert got sick of her constant interference. And Amanda, she started seeing the truth, little by little. Then came the knockout punch. Using the very same private investigator Margaret had used against me, I had Robert followed. Turns out, he wasn't as loyal as Amanda had thought. A few well-timed pictures of Robert with another woman, delivered straight to Amanda's inbox, and suddenly her world wasn't so perfect anymore. Margaret's entire plan was crumbling. The moment came sooner than expected. Margaret, in full damage control mode, was trying to keep Amanda in line. But Amanda, shaken, betrayed, finally snapped. I wasn't there for the explosion, but Mark was, and he told me everything. Amanda, sobbing, demanded answers. Margaret, ever the snake, tried to lie her way out of it. But Amanda had seen the proof. She knew what her mother had done, not just to me, but to others before me. You destroyed my life, she screamed at her mother. I trusted you and you ruined everything. Margaret, for the first time in her life, had no control. Amanda walked out on her. Robert, he had already left. And Mark, he finally grew a spine and filed for divorce. Margaret was alone. Her reputation, shattered. Her family, gone. Her power, stripped away. And me, I watched it all unfold with satisfaction. She had taken everything from me. And now, I had taken everything from her. Margaret had lost everything. No power, no influence, no family left to manipulate. And yet, somehow, she still had the audacity to believe she could crawl out of the hole she dug. I wasn't done yet. I should have seen it coming. 3 months after the dust had settled, she came back. Amanda showed up at my door, looking like a ghost of herself. Her makeup smudged, eyes hollow, dressed in the same designer clothes she used to flaunt. But now they just looked empty. She hesitated, then whispered, "Liam, can we talk?" I laughed. I laughed in her face. "Talk," I said, crossing my arms. "About what? How you threw away our marriage over fake evidence. Or how you let your mother run your life until it all fell apart." She winced. I made a mistake. I leaned against the doorframe, smirking. Which part? Believing your mother's lies? Jumping into bed with another man before our divorce was even final? Or crawling back here, thinking I'd take you in? Tears welled in her eyes. I was blind. I thought I was doing the right thing. I scoffed. "And now that Robert dumped you, you think I'll just forget everything?" She swallowed hard, shaking her head. "No, I know I don't deserve forgiveness. But I wanted to say I'm sorry." I looked her dead in the eyes. Apology not accepted. And with that, I shut the door in her face. Amanda was broken. But Margaret? That woman still had one last gasp of delusion. She tried to claw her way back, scheming like a rat in a corner. She attempted to rebuild her social status, to weasel her way back into the clubs and high-end circles she once ruled. But the world had turned its back on her. Everywhere she went, doors were closed. Friends she had controlled for years now avoided her. Women she had once manipulated now whispered behind her back. She had become a pariah. Mark had moved on. Amanda was gone. And me? I was thriving. 1 year later, I was a new man. Stronger, wiser, wealthier. I had rebuilt my life from the ground up. Bought a new place. Started my own business. Met better women. Women who didn't treat me like a backup plan. And Margaret? Last I heard, she was living in a tiny apartment, surviving off what little she had left after Mark drained their accounts in the divorce. Amanda? She was floating around somewhere, trying to piece together a life without Mommy's influence. And me? I had won, because revenge isn't about rage. It's about watching the ones who wronged you destroy themselves. And Margaret? She destroyed herself beautifully.